At exactly 8:15 a.m., the battlefield went quiet, then blind. Not from missiles alone, but from a 5-mile wall of electronic noise that turned a billion-dollar command post into a dead zone. We're breaking down how Ukraine built a signal kill box with EW vehicles, decoy radar pings, and semi-autonomous robots, locking out sensors, then rolling in Su-25s, Mi-24s, and T-72s under the cover of static. Stay for the moment the fiber lines melt and 40% of channels go dark in minutes, and why this shift makes tank counts almost irrelevant. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. You hear engines. Then silence on the scopes. The first question you ask is simple: why did sensors fail before the shooting even started? At exactly 8:15, the line steps off. Su-25s trim in low and fast. Mi-24s skim treetops. T-72s idle in blackout, hulls cold, optics covered, crews counting down on synced clocks. The timing is ruthless. Rotors notch into the wind just as armor throttles to a crawl. Artillery nets stay quiet. No early flashes to tip the hand. Every piece moves on a common tick, the kind of time lock that turns chaos into a plan. But then the radars wake and see junk. Ground arrays try to paint tracks and instead pull clutter. A command loop pushes gain, tweaks filters, and gets a spray of ghosts. Cross queues fail. One screen shows a swarm. Another shows nothing. You can feel the operators chasing static with their eyes. The more they hunt, the more the noise blooms. A 5-mile EW corridor rolls ahead of the assault like a moving fog bank. D/EW vans crawl in echelon, antennas canted. Directional jammers throw narrow beams that knife through search bands, while wide flood gear lays a bed of hash. Deceptive pings hop along likely approach lanes, each pulse tuned to look like a real return. It strips lock-on. It breaks track continuity. It makes you doubt your own screen. Those decoy pings do the ugly work. They bounce down a valley line, then kick up across a road cut, each echo landing where a real flight path might be. Fire control splits attention, burns compute, and loses cadence. You can almost hear the crew chief calling for manual confirmation that never lands. Precious seconds die. Windows close. This is suppression by spectrum. First, a drone pass maps the electromagnetic terrain, who talks, on what bands, from which masts. Then the jammers push directed power across 3 to 30 MHz, smashing comms nets, not just sensors. HF links smear into white hiss. VHF nets fracture. UHF handoffs lag a beat too long. It's not about blinds alone. It's about cutting the voice in the headset that says shoot. You get a clean, compact case. A Su-25 slips under a degraded envelope, where the engagement zone has holes you can drive a wing through. The pilots ride the deck inside that gap. On the ground, armor moves just outside lock range, noses angled, turrets still. The crew on the far side tries to hand targets off by voice because autocue is gone. That handoff lags. The window closes again. Now comes the hit on the backbone. Thermite on fiber junctions at street level. Repeater towers flagged from the mapping pass get tagged and dropped. Net control tries to reroute through secondaries and hits dead air. In minutes, channels that carried fire missions and drone feeds are just static. Operators pound keysets and get nothing but an empty carrier. By the 15-minute mark, more than 40% of channels between Medici and higher echelons go dark. The grid fragments. Units fire on old coordinates because fresh data never arrives. Timing dies. You can't mass fires when no one shares the clock. You can't stack runs when no one hears the check-in. People do brave work in that gap and never get heard. Meanwhile the corridor keeps crawling forward, a gray belt you can't see but you feel. Every radar sweep returns less truth. Every voice net gets thinner. The instinct is to throw more bombs at the problem. That's a trap. The next move isn't louder. It's smarter. With the net cut and the sky noisy, the plan shifts to the only thing that still tells the truth at ground level: robots that can feed clean data through the fog and hold the kill box open. If sensors lie, who tells the truth on the ground? In this fight, the answer rolls on tires and tracks. The net is noisy. The feeds are dirty. So Ukraine pushes a layered robotic stack that makes its own truth and moves it fast. Husky MRAPs act as data mules. Each one is a moving router, pulling in feeds from the forward edge and pushing clean packets back to guns. Gun-mounted robotic dogs clear lanes, carbines stabilized on gimbals, trotting through alleys and pipe racks where men would bleed. Small tracked Panthers probe corners and loading bays, their thermal sights set to spot breath heat and barrel glow. None of them need a perfect GPS fix to work. Anti-jam guidance and dead recon modules keep the course steady enough to matter. Meanwhile, Russian BMP-3s and T-80s shove forward in staggered blocks. Sukhoi 34s drag above them, but the top-down feeds lag, smear, and stutter. Markers jump. Bearings drift. The crews know something is off but have to move anyway. Their software shows a target, then a blank, then two targets. It's like fighting through a cracked windshield. The scouts hold just outside weapon lock range and stay there. Panthers peek a bore line, get the ping, and back an inch. Robot dogs angle a muzzle down a lane, then drop behind a concrete lip. Husky masts keep the link tight, low power, narrow beam. The point is to make the other side choose between shooting ghosts on a dead screen or turning a turret and exposing hull to real eyes. Either choice costs them time. Time draws fire. Here's the loop. A Panther tags a hot shape with a coded ping. Overhead, a small drone validates with one fast pass. The Husky stitches the two feeds and spits a firing card: grid, elevation, fuse. BM-27 Uragan crews have their tubes already set by the last packet. Salvos cue, ripple, and walk in. The delay you expect, gone. Crosschecks keep it honest. Nothing fires on a single echo. A microbattle snaps open at a rail spur. A bunker tries an ambush with a short burst and a cold barrel. The Panther's thermal sees the heat soak on the embrasure, not the muzzle flash. A robot dog runs a cleared path across rebar and oil pans, nose camera down to spot tripwires. Two soldiers with at-4S move along that string, notch to notch, no radio chatter, just hand squeezes. The strike lands before the second burst leaves the slit. The bunker stops talking. This is why millions in robots beat billions in steel when the network is jammed. Armor mass means less if the sight line is false and the map is late. Data you trust is the only high ground. Cheap nodes, quick loops, clean packets, that stack outruns a heavy hull that needs perfect orders to move and shoot. Resilience seals it. Disperse the nodes and you keep the stream alive. If a Panther burns, the next unit inherits the feed. If a Husky takes a hit, another steps up and routes the mesh. Every bot is a sensor. Every Husky is a router. The fabric stretches but does not tear. Artillery still gets the card. Drones still get the mark. The signal kill box holds. Guns hit what they see. Drones finish what they mark. Russian crews keep turning toward decoys and stale tracks, bleeding minutes that they can't afford. You can feel the rhythm shift as their pushes slow and the pauses lengthen. With 70 minutes of blindness bought and paid for, the mission bends. It's no longer about seizing a block. It's about breaking will and forcing a pullback before the net can breathe again. Victory hinged on sensor integrity, not steel tonnage. When the net went dark, mass lost its voice. The Medici fight proved it. Once comms fractured, the battle turned into a contest of perception and data. Robots plus EW cut risk, fed clean targeting, and made expensive hulls slow and unsure. If you now judge a battle by who controls the spectrum, subscribe and share how you'd counter a 5-mile EW corridor. Comment your choice below. Think counter-spoofing, hardened links, and redundancy that survives jamming. The second belt will adapt. The question is whether it can see through the noise before the next 70 minutes starts.